Yeah, what's going on, everyone? This game, this is Gingy over in the East. This is not a really special game. It's just an excuse for me to yap because I've got some things I want to talk to you guys about directly to my audience. I tricked you. This is a channel update video. I don't know how you guys feel when you see YouTubers do channel update videos or talk about their own channel. I mean, I find it interesting, and I usually I learn from watching those and starting my own thing, of course. So I did watch them, I guess, but especially small YouTubers, it's like, bro, who cares? But I did want to ask you guys some questions, and I mean, this is my second channel. There's absolutely nothing I need to think about for this, so I can just make a video ask you guys directly whatever else. Um, so I actually wanted to start it off with some clarification for maybe the one person in the world who's confused right now. Wait, this is your second channel? This is my second channel. I do have a main channel which is not here, doing something completely different. Um, Makes a lot more highly edited, just better videos. Yeah, check it out if you haven't, I suppose. But real thing is, why haven't I been uploading more there? And I mean, there's a lot of things I could say, but a lot of them are just really depressing. Like, oh yeah, with the state of the world, I've just found it difficult to make anything, happy or fun or inspiring. Uh, but it's not really the thing that's been going on with it. I think I could say that the arc has largely been that I've had some issues putting out those videos just because I have too it's too ambitious for what I'm capable of doing. So I end up putting out a draft of something, working on it for a while, and then just looking at it I could do so much better. And at the very beginning of the channel, I was fine with just get something out. A finished project is infinitely better than a video that's perfect but only exists in your mind. And I was cool with that, but I started rewatching some of those videos, and I just had so many problems with all of them. I was like, why are they so bad? Why am I making things that are just not as good as they could be? Not even bad, just not as good as they could be is the big thing. It was the crushing. So the thing is, I set a deadline for myself, New Year's Day. I'm like, okay, started the channel, put all those videos January 1st last year. Let's do some more January 1st this year, and then just missed that deadline completely. I was like, oh, this is terrible. So I set a new deadline. That didn't happen, so I'd be like, you know what? I just need to make something. Let's even make a video that doesn't require all that editing or whatever else. So we got this channel. I mean, part of that was just that it's a series of replays. If I am in a grind session or playing a fair few games of Polytopia, I'll eventually ends up with some interesting ones. We're talking about showing off to other people, something of that sort. Uh, Terrible mistake there. But I was like, why don't I just go ahead, do a little quick recording. The problem was still I had the same issue with why am I making a video that isn't as good as it could be? I could do this better. So at the start of it, the microphone was a serious problem. I mean, the microphone's still a little bit of an issue now just because of my recording location being a little echoey, bouncing off all the walls and everything. But it's certainly much better than it had been with the constant cutouts. I would listen back to those recordings and be like, oh, I can't upload this if all of this audio cutting out. It's just nonsense. And it would make the video much better, not just for the fact that there was less audio cut out in whatever the final take I used was, but also just because I had a better idea of what I was going to say, some rehearsal going into it. Uh, but the problem is, I'm recording all these videos at 2 a.m. and then I'm waking up at 7 a.m. to go to school and go to work and whatever. So I'm so dead tired. Also, I'm running out of replays. It's not like, a huge issue, but I don't have like, the entire repository of like all of these replays that I've ever shared in this context, just because you only get the last 6 months of replays, like if you haven't favorited any of them, and you are limited on how many replays you can favorite. So I don't have unlimited replays, which means I don't have unlimited videos. I'm not gonna run out of videos or like replays anytime soon, but it just won't last forever. And I can't just create more replays either because it's already enough just sitting down and recording the video, let alone actually going and finding new games that are interesting enough, worth sharing. Like, I played this game earlier tonight, tried to yap over it live, and ended up actually taking like over an hour just for the raw recording. And I'm like, I don't have an hour worth of things to say. I ended up talking about like Renaissance, like stagecraft, for a while there. Just, I don't know how much. It feels pretty niche to me, anyways. So I'm thinking I might try to do some, live plays in the future. Um, like, say what I have to say over a script and then like cut to the end maybe. I'm not too interested in, the actual thing. But the big thing is I think I might do daily uploads until like a month has passed since I started, so like to February 16th. And after that, I think I'm going to change and do weekends only. And this is why I'm making this a video, because you can, voice your opinion, and like, please tell me, like, regardless of, what you think is, good for me or anything, just like you, like, be a little selfish as a viewer, just say, this is what I want. Tell me if you want to see, the slightly higher quality, like, more uniform in length videos, um, maybe some like live games, like live commentary while the game is going on instead of just commentating over replays. Those kinds of videos. Still no editing, no cuts. That I don't think I'm ever gonna do that for this channel. I like the aesthetic of it too much to do anything about that. So tell me what you think about that. And one last note is on YouTube thumbnails in general, but also mine. I have had some people ask me if my YouTube thumbnails are AI generated. And I think the only reason they're asking me that is because they're like ugly thumbnails. No, they're not AI. They are human generated slop. I like just as like a cultural thing where like there's some people who hate AI, despise it, and like others who are just like, oh, everyone has to get aboard the AI train. I'm not on the AI train. I think it's terrible, disgusting if I was ever, one side or the other. But not because I'm opposed to, aesthetics of ugliness or anything. I think there's great utility in like, trash content, garbage kind of things like that. But like when it's coming from a machine, like, and we're replacing all the human-made garbage. It's kind of like, what's the point? What are we doing all this for? I've heard it said like, I'm so glad that the machines took all the tedious stuff, like writing music away from me, so that I can spend more time doing the dishes, whatever else like that. Nothing wrong with the technology per se, although energy use, whatever else you want to say about it. Um, but it's just a matter of implementation and control by technocrats. Fair enough. But I want to take it a step further and say I'm cool with it. Being ugly and like disgusting and making things that are like unpleasant to look at. My only beef with AI is that it's not art. There's no art to it. And you might look at my thumbnails and be like, you're gonna call that art? Really? Yeah, absolutely I am. I earned that. And you see the thumbnail I dropped yesterday? Ooh, she's spicy. Brilliant. Beautiful thumbnail. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, get your eyes examined if you think otherwise, basically. I mean, it sounds a little rude, but at that point you deserve a little rudeness, You've earned your keep, as it were. But this game's right about to wrap up, and I mean you can see why it lasted like over an hour. Absolutely ridiculous stuff going on here. I don't think I have anything more I want to say about the channel, although or either channel I guess. I'm still working on some new videos, and the idea is that I'll end up using the time that I would have been recording these during the weekday to work on some hopefully like easier, maybe less ambitious, but still higher quality videos for the main channel. Although the likelihood that I just use it to get more than 5 hours of sleep a night is also very high, so I will refrain from making any promises. Um, I've heard it said by a certain Hong Kong director, uh, I have all these ideas for films in the future, but I won't tell you about any of them, because if I do, they might not come real. And when I say certain Hong Kong director, I mean I'm blanking on his name right now. But if you look up the quote, you'll realize that it's real. 100% trust, bruh. Anyways, you might be asking, are you really comparing yourself to Wong Kar-wai right now? Do you think you've, attained that level of artistry? No. I did feel this similar about, the process of creation in that one moment, though. That is all I mean to say. Nothing more than that. This game keeps going on, and I really don't want to rob you of, the beautiful ending of this game. I mean, it's not really all that beautiful. You can kind of see where this is going. Like, his markets are a little abysmal, a little atrocious. We have much better markets, and we've, set ourselves up to get even stronger ones with mathematics. He's got knights and chivalry, so I guess really just pay attention to the defense of this city, because it looks pretty difficult to defend with this giant coming in. Like, we can't even step our own giant on there, because he will just kill it straight up. He's got this giant to, block himself in, but we're going to go ahead and drop the Grand Bazaar, and you're like, what? Grand Bazaar? Or does he have, room to get anything else going on there? It's this little veteran knight. Just, terrible for us. We've got, like, basically a full health giant here, which he just tears apart. Ugh. Yeah, this guy's not doing all too well either. Been out worse for wear. We've got these couple catapults down here, which are really putting the pressure on his giants over there. And yeah, he's just moving in with his knights, but he made a few mistakes. Like, yeah, you get this city upgraded before you're going all in on knights, in this city, you might counter that we've got this city, but we still went into chivalry this turn. What's up with that? Yeah, no, there's a difference. He burns these forests and puts down a market or something. What am I doing to upgrade this? Am I going spiritualism? But yeah, with the chivalry, we'll destroy our market, our beautiful level 6 market, and we get our giant here, which is all we're going to need because yeah, what's he gonna siege with? He should siege with this giant. That gives him the best chance of actually holding on to anything on that city. Meanwhile, we're just upgrading our markets even further. We could get the level 1 market on this city if we wanted to, even. But he's bringing in his knights over here, taking out our veteran archer. Or sorry, veteran rider. We don't have any... I think we have the, one archer that we trained. Because they're just a little too slow. So we got the swordsmen in the front, the riders, knights in the back. But yeah, over here he takes out our one giant and sieges with this 22 health giant. And I'm like, excuse me? Do you have no vision on me? Or do you just like think I'm an idiot? What's going on here? We start on the chain over here, but we're just going to keep them, in a little sense of dread. Impending doom before we go ahead and actually finish off that chain, because this is the way to get them to resign. You take out some more damage on this, and yeah, we've locked down this city, like it's safe. We're the one who's going to be sieging them on like all 3 of these cities, and probably this city too, not too long. Then we can probably move into cloaks, like finish them off, but yeah, they decide, wait a second, you can't even really like get any good chains over here. What am I doing with my life? And it finally decides to resign. Okay, bye. See you later. Have a good one. Feliz Navidad. Happy Lunar New Year? I don't think is it the year of the horse now? Okay,